Guys, it's Eclipse the Sims, and today we have the start of a new series called The Diary of a Disgruntled Employee. This first episode is going to be titled Big G. Y'all let me know after the story is over whether y'all feel like I was borderline harassed. Was it a big deal to you? Have you experienced this before? Do you guys have any tips in case I do experience this again at a different job? Y'all let me know. But let's get started. So, long story short, because I've done this like several times at this point because my audio is just annoying me, okay? This happened about 6 or 7 months into this job. I was an opener at this point. I opened in the morning. I got up at 5:30 in the morning. Store wouldn't open till 6. Excuse me. Customers wouldn't come in until around 7. Usually they came in earlier than that, but it was usually just for coffee. It wasn't for like a big order. Or some workers would come in for like food. But that was about it. However, with this particular customer, for the sake of this video, we're calling him Big G. He came in the store early in the morning after the first encounter I had with him. Like, he became more of a regular, at least for me, after our first initial encounter. And that first initial encounter it was really busy. It was springtime. During this time where I lived at, soccer was a really big thing. And a lot of the soccer teams and their families would come to Panera, in between games to get lunch. And then sometimes they would come after the games are over to get lunch, but it's usually when they were in between games. So I'm helping a customer, and I just so happen to feel somebody staring at me from like my right side. I couldn't really like look to see who it was because I'm in the middle of helping another customer. So after I was done helping this customer and a couple of other customers out, I happened to glance over, and it's this older man, very tall, pot belly, very stocky build, and he dressed really nice. Like, you could tell he had money. He had all these different like gold rings on his finger, so like you could tell he had money or whatever. And he was a black guy. He had a bit of like an African accent. Like I said, you could tell he had money. He wasn't a bum, but the way he kind of went about things with me, at least, was just a little creepy. But he just kept staring. He didn't say anything to me. He was just staring, admiring me, and smiling. Didn't say a word. So I took note of this the first time, but really didn't like think much of it after the fact until I seen him again. So the next time I seen him was probably like a week or two later, and this is when he starts to come on Sundays or Mondays more regularly. So he comes in this day around, I want to say 8, and he gets in line. When he gets to me at the register, he doesn't give me his order right away. He was kind of just staring at me and smiling. Like, he greeted me with a hi, but that was about it. He just kept staring at me. And I kept asking him, like, are you ready? You ready for me to take your order? What would you like? Give him the whole, rundown on the menu and what's for sale and blah, blah, blah. And he kind of just stares at me for a little bit longer, and then he finally goes, you're really pretty. And I go, oh, okay, thank you. And he keeps giving me all these compliments, and I'm gonna be honest with you, at this point I'm kind of annoyed because it's like, okay, can we hurry up and get your order moved along so I can get you about my face? I got other people I gotta, help, and there's other things I gotta do. So, like, could you hurry this along? That's what I'm thinking in my head, because I feel like he was really just trying to have a conversation or start one, and I wasn't really trying to talk to him. I wasn't really trying to do that. So he ends up finally giving me his order, and he gets some coffee, and he goes about his business. However, going about his business really is going around the corner, but not fully, because he's too busy trying to look at me still until he gets his order. So it's right back to the whole staring and smiling at me from a distance type thing, right? So this day goes on without a hitch, whatever. Like I said, I take note of it, but it wasn't really that big of a deal. Like I was uncomfortable, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't that deep to me at this point, right? So the next week he comes again on another Sunday, and I was actually on break when he came in this time, and I was in line because I was waiting to get my breakfast, and he actually came in behind me, and I think he tapped me on my shoulder, like to start a conversation with me again, because I guess he recognized me from behind. And I went to turn around, he was like, "Hi," and I said, "Hi." And I think he was starting a conversation. He was asking me how my day was and all these things. I didn't want to be rude. I was already irritated. I had just got on break. It was a busy morning that Sunday because, again, bagel sales. The Panera I was at, they did their bagel sales on Sundays. So I dealt with the brunt of that until another coworker or another cashier would come in to kind of like help me out so I could go take my first 10-minute break. So I wasn't really in the mood to talk to him, but I didn't want to be rude either. So I kept it short, I kept it sweet. I got my food and went to go sit down. However, when I went to go sit down, he got his order not too long after and actually placed himself sitting at a table across from where I was sitting. So we weren't at the same table, but he was like a table or two over, if that makes sense. So I take note of this as well, and at this point I'm like, okay, so clearly this is going to become a more regular thing just when he comes in here. And at this point I'm like, well, I'm gonna just have to avoid him. So this same day he actually leaves, he doesn't come back. But I too tell my coworkers about it just to let them know, like, I don't really like dealing with this customer. He's always staring and smiling at me. I don't really like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And I actually asked one of our team leads about him. And because he had already left, she didn't know who I was talking about. So it wasn't until I want to say a week or two later, another Sunday, he comes back around the same time, 8, and I left the register. As soon as he came in, I left. And I told my other coworker who was pregnant at the time, Sarah, for the sake of this video, we're gonna call her Sarah. I told Sarah about him already. And so I asked her to cover for me, and I showed her, like, this is the dude right here. And she's like, okay. So she covered for me. So she took his order. But while I was in the back making the coffees while she was dealing with him for me, I actually asked one of the team leads again, the same one. I asked her, was like, hey, do you know him? And she was like, yeah. And she was like, that's Big G. I'm like, okay, well, I felt uncomfortable serving him because he smiles at me, he stares at me. I don't like that. So I want nothing to do with him, but I'm just letting you know. So she took note of it, but went about her way because she had to get on the line. So that day went okay. I got to avoid him, thank God, because I had a coworker there. However, I want to say a few weeks later, I didn't see him. And I've been a few weeks, probably a month went by before I seen him again. And this time he came on like a Monday. And he came in around 9:30 this day. And normally he's there before lunch rush. So he comes in and Sarah was there and I had a coworker that was with him named Leah. Leah was usually on the window or on the line. However, this day she was more so in the back, kind of like helping out with various things and like helping the line out with their food supply so they wouldn't run out while they had this big rush going on that day. And he came in and Sarah took over from me again because I'm avoiding him. I want no parts. It's just too much. It's just a little creepy because you just go sit there and stare and take up the line. I don't got time for that today. So I go in the back and I tell Lee about that the guy's back there. So me and her are kind of like joking about it. Sarah helps him with his order. He ends up leaving. Once he leaves, I go back to the register. A few minutes later, Leah goes on break. After she goes on break, he comes back because he forgot a coffee cup. Or at least, I don't know if he forgot the coffee cup or Sarah just forgot to give it to him. But whatever the case was, he didn't get his coffee cup. So now I have to give it to him. However, he tells me we didn't have any coffee cups in the front, so now I have to go to the back to go get coffee cups. I tell my coworker Leah, hey, can you come and take over for register just in case we get any more customers, because I gotta get this guy a coffee cup. And so as I'm walking back there, she sees him and she goes, hey, do you need anything? And he goes, yeah, I need a coffee cup. He's like, and so she's like, oh, okay. She's like, well, I can get you a coffee cup. And he's like, no, she's gonna go get me a coffee cup. She being me. She's gonna go get me a coffee cup. And she's like, no, it's fine. She's like, I have coffee cups right here. So she goes under the register, and it's like a shelf under the register where we usually keep supplies. And there's actually like a stack of cups that I didn't even like see. Then again, I don't think I even looked. I didn't check. I was just trying to hurry up and get away from him, to be honest with you. But she goes under there and she gets the stacks of cups, and I think they're like medium-sized coffee cups. I think that's also the size he needed. But she hands him a cup. She goes to hand him a cup, and I'm still walking back there to go get the cups. I have the cups in my hand at this point, and I'm actually walking back. As I'm walking back, she's handing him the cup, and he looks. I guess he looks at her, and he's like, "No, no, I want her." He yells like, no, I want her to give me the cup. I don't want the cup. I want her to get me the cup. And I'll come back and she's just looking at him like she backed up from the register. And she's just like, what the fuck? And I'm hearing this, and mind you, he's loud when he yells at her, like he's loud about it. And me and her just looking at each other like, what the fuck? So I do end up handing him a cup just to get him to go away, and also just to make him feel better. But me and her look at each other like, hello? Like, did that really just happen? Like, she's like, he yelled at me about it. And I'm like, I heard. Like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah. She's like, I just, like, it was just a cup. Like, he needed a cup, so I handed him a cup. Like, he could have. She's like, why did he have to yell? I'm like, I don't know. I was like, he must have really wanted me to give him that cup, huh? And so me and her were just like fucking flabbergasted about it. Like, what the fuck just happened? Like, all this over a cup? Child, after this happened, I completely avoided him after this. I wanted nothing else to do with him and taking his order. So every time he came in, another person would take over, because it was just way too much. After that, with that coworker, I was like, that freaked me out. I was a little embarrassed because I'm like, dude, really? Like, you either could have waited. He didn't have to take the cup either. You know, it's not like she was gonna keep like, you know, it's not like she was gonna force him to take the cup. You didn't have to yell. So, you know, after that, I kind of just avoided him. I think I saw him again like once or twice, but I mean, I didn't really have any more interactions with him, like I said, because I would just avoid him after that. And shortly after that, I kind of just quit. So, you know, I don't know if he still goes there or not, but yeah, that was the story of Big G. I don't know. That man must have had a really big crush on me. And he only did it, like, he only acted that way towards me. And it was a lot. I actually told my parents this story. They thought it was funny. My mom, at that time, when I told her, and I was still working there, she was like, as long as he doesn't get physical with you, it shouldn't really be that big of a deal. She was like, just don't entertain him, you know, if you don't have to. So, yeah, that was my story about how I borderline feel like I got harassed by that man. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little story time. I do have more that I plan on putting out about some other things that happened at this job and the reason I quit. So yeah, please like, share, and subscribe to this video. If you watched the entire video, I really, really, really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.